I think at the end of it, an efficient supply chain is what puts a smile on people's faces. And with the advent of newer technologies, it actually enables people like me to be able to deliver a superior product to the customer and as well as to people like you and me.
He asked me a question, which is the largest selling item during New Year's? And we racked our brain, we came up with various things. And the most strangest actually, but very obvious answer was ice. Damn, I missed my Karela juice. He missed his Karela shot in the morning, so he's happy to have it.
That bad. Namaskar Mumbai. Welcome to Crafting Bharat, Brand Ki Baat, a podcast where we talk about brands, businesses, and the people who build them from the inside out. This isn't about buzzwords or perfect case studies. It's about real decisions, real challenges, and real stories from leaders shaping Indian businesses today. We are excited to bring the Mumbai chapter to life, a city driven by speed, scale, and ambition, much like the brands operating here. This series is brought to you by Newsreach, India's leading PR tech platform, and powered by HT Smartcast and Fever Network. A special thank you to our Mumbai chapter gifting partner, Nanaji Natural, for thoughtfully curating gifts that add a beautiful natural touch to today's conversation. And our beauty partner, Lakme Academy, powered by Aptech, for helping us out put our best self forward. Joining us today are Amitabh Saksena, who is the founder and managing director of Actimedia, PR and Digital, and Mr. Sameer Varma, who is the executive director at Coldstar Logistics. Two leaders working at the intersection of strategy, communication, and execution. So let's get started. First of all, Mr. Saksena, Mr. Varma, thank you so much for sparing your valuable time. And I hope this conversation is going to be really fruitful because the kind of businesses that you are involved in is something that needs to be heard by many more people. So thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us.
Thank you.
Well, coming down to our first segment, which is the pitch, where we will get to know you. So the concept is pretty simple, sir. We'll keep it as candid as possible. I would like both of you to actually give us a quick pitch, and it's not just titled, but as people, as industry leaders. So who you are, what you do, and what led you into the world of businesses and brand building. Starting up with Mr. Saksena, please.
Hi, thank you for getting us on the platform. I'm Amitabh Saksena. I run a lifestyle PR company called Actimedia PR and Digital. We specialize, as the name says, in lifestyle. However, what we bring to the table is we work with curated set of clients, and we work with the clients that we wish to work with as well. And Coldstar is one of the clients that we actually thought about it because we never worked in, not too much into B2B business, but it's a very, very interesting space, and thus the client Coldstar. More about Actimedia, we are essentially a company which is more interested in making our clients heard than the company, like our company itself.
Of course.
And yes, basically that.
Mr. Varma.
Thank you so much for having me. So let me start from the beginning, right? So I think in a city like Bombay, with the hustle and bustle around, it's important to understand that the food that you eat, the products that you buy off the shelves, it's actually transported or moved by somebody, by a platform, and it gets to shelves and gets to your doorsteps by a set of experts. The other piece that we've tried to sort of solve for is the ability to solve for wastage.
Okay.
In anything perishable, fruits and vegetables that you look around, there is a level of wastage which happens. So about a decade or so back, when we were putting a plan together, our idea really was to solve for wastage along the value chain, create more value for the end manufacturer or the producer, and put a smile on the client's face or a customer's face when the product actually gets delivered to your doorstep. That's the real hypothesis behind us putting this little platform together called Coldstar.
Well, of course, you're putting a smile on a lot of people's faces because the food get delivered, all the products that they order, they get delivered. And of course, coming out from a logistics background, this is a story that needs to be heard by a lot of people. So I'm pretty excited to have you on the podcast. And Sir, I mean, this is something that is very special. Two people who work together on the same platform talking about their respective businesses. I'll start with you, Mr. Varma. You have been at the heart of Coldstar's journey, and this is from the very beginning. So, if you could share a little about how it started, what was the inception, and now that you see a brand which is being built with all the love, with all the sweat and all the hard work, how is it going for you?
So let me start at the beginning, right? So the way that we actually went about it was a little left field. And what I mean by that is that we were building out, a investing house which was focused on logistics. And we were at my co-founder's house because we were still searching for an office. And we were there every morning at about 9:30 in the morning. And I was there till she would say, okay, now it's time. I need to sort of start sorting for dinner, and guests were coming over and so on and so forth. Every time I'd open the fridge, I would, there were green peas in the fridge, there was ice cream in the fridge, there was dahi in the fridge, there was, drinks in the fridge. The question that came out to me was, how is it getting to the fridge? Okay. And for the longest time, I just could not answer that question. Where did the green peas come from? How did it land up in the fridge? How did the ice cream land up in the fridge? And having a background in logistics, it worried me because we didn't know how it was getting there. What went into getting the product to a fridge at that point of time was just not very clear. So we spent a good, I would say, about a year, 2 years, sort of crisscrossing the country, actually going and meeting the manufacturers, meeting people who were producing the products which were showing up, in our fridges, and said, look, what is really required is a platform which sort of marries demand with supply.
Okay.
And let's be very, very honest here. Logistics, at the end of it, is a simple business. It's about moving a product from point A to point B. The complexity comes in when you and I, sitting at home, want to order in a small piece of ice cream, or want biryani from your favorite restaurant. It's that small piece which has to be constructed, which requires various inputs coming in from various parts of the country, has to be sort of put together and then sent across to your doorstep or to your favorite retailer. That's really where we saw an opportunity in India, because demand in India and consumption in India is not something that's ever been questioned, right? There is consistent demand, not only in large cities like the ones that we live in, but even in smaller cities. And we wanted a unified platform which could actually address that particular demand, and at the end of it, deliver a never stock out solution to both my retailer as a customer as well as you as my end customer.
Of course.
That was the real thesis.
And Mr. Varma, of course, misconceptions and remarks in this particular century, they float around and they circulate rather, like people are throwing their visiting cards on the crossroad. And of course, from logistic point of view, what is that one misconception about logistics or supply chain that you would like to clear today?
I think at the end of it, an efficient supply chain is what puts a smile on people's faces. And with the advent of newer technologies, it actually enables people like me to be able to deliver a superior product to the customer, and as well as to people like you and me. That's the misconception that people have, that look, it's all about trucks and it's all about warehouses and it's all about these riders riding around. But there is an engine that actually makes it hum. That engine is the most exciting part about what we do.
All right. Coming to you, Mr. Saksena, obviously, Actimedia plays a huge role when it comes to PR and digital. How did Actimedia started? What was the story behind? And what's your philosophy while working with brands like Coldstar Logistics?
Sure. Actimedia started in October 1998, and actually I used to work with a PR wing of JWT earlier.
Okay.
And I had a very, very pushy colleague called Benita Bodani, who said, why can't we start on our own? And she was pretty young in the system, and she literally pushed me to start Actimedia, actually. She said, what we can do for others, we can do for ourselves. And I had relatively about 5-6 years in the business, and we took a leap. And our first client was ExxonMobil, which is Esso Petroleum. We did a project for them. Basically, they were known for put the tiger in the tank as a tagline. So we did a tiger project for them across India. So the first client that we started was a Fortune 500 company, and then there was no looking back. During that time, we also worked with MTV a lot, and the people at MTV really brought us client, pushed us in the right direction. Though we had done a lot of television and other brands like Goldman Sachs and HP, HCL, we somehow got pushed into lifestyle. And those were the days there was no specialization. And suddenly we realized that we were actually good at what we do, which is lifestyle. And we took a vow that we will not go beyond a certain set of clients because we wanted to give value to the clients that we serve. It was not about being the biggest PR company in India. It was being the best PR company in India. So curated clients, that's what I said. We chose our clients. And essentially, we also ensured that the people were happy. They had a life beyond work. Happy people make happy clients was a basic motto that we went on with. And that's what helped us shape the company effectively. Working with a client like Coldstar, when actually Samir approached me saying, we are looking for a PR agency, I said, we've never worked in the space. And it sounds very boring. So he said, no, I agree, it sounds boring, but let's try and explore it. And once my team met Samir, he's a great talker for sure. And they were enamored by the whole system, how logistics happen, how ice cream is delivered. In fact, they came up with 30,000 ideas on how to actually put this B2B company on the map in the media. And the tools are very different, obviously, for a company which is B2B. But it's been fascinating journey working with Coldstar because it makes you think in a very different space. And as a company, as a PR lifestyle company, we try to provide the lifestyle edge to all the brands we work with. If it's a steel company, how do you bring that lifestyle edge? And that's our core competency, actually.
Well, Mr. Saksena, a leap of faith and a motto to keep customers happy, to bring a smile on their face is something that warms the cockles of my heart. And certainly, Actimedia doing some great thing in the industry. But of course, a couple of questions because curiosity gets built up, and I'm somebody who gets very curious and fascinated by knowing about what's the story of the brand. So if you had to describe about Actimedia's approach to branding in fewer words, how would you do that?
So essentially, when we work with clients, we do something called a messaging workshop. The core thought behind is, why is the company doing what it is doing? What is the personality of the brand? What is the DNA of the brand?
Okay.
And how do you bring that forth in all your communication?
Of course.
And that is the key to the brands that we work with and the successes for that matter. Because if you don't know what the brand stands for, what is the purpose of the brand, what is the personality of the brand, what is the DNA of the brand, and what does it wishes to do, all your communication is lost after that. So once you get that right, I think everything flows from that. So we specialize in creating messaging for the brand. Very distinctive. How do you create a niche for it? How do you differentiate it from 30 other companies in the same space? And that's what we bring to the table.
Well, that brings an end to our first segment, the pitch. Well, time to introduce segment 2, which is Rate This Pitch. So the segment is called Rate This Pitch. And of course, we'll share some brand or marketing ideas with you. Some are real, sir. Some are not. So if you feel that this idea is real, this marketing gimmick is real, you just have to simply tell us that it's a smart move, or it's a risky idea, or something that shouldn't happen. But if we feel that your answer is very safe and you're playing on a very safe ground, there is a consequence that is waiting across the crossroad for you. So my first pitch is to Mr. Varma. At a massive Indian festival, a glue brand dressed 10 people in one giant t-shirt so they look literally stuck together. So this stunt was obviously done in the middle of the crowd to actually bring their tagline alive: strong bonds that never break. So according to you, would this really work safely in a festival with millions of people, like, in our country? or does it sound just too wild?
I don't think it's wild enough, because if you have 1 million people and you have 10 people who are stuck together, it's going to be missed, right? Because in the 1 million people in India,
But of course, you have to work around with the safety as well, because with a lot of people around us, safety becomes a concern.
In 1 million people, you're walking around, you're worried about your phone, you're worried about your child, you're worried about your bag. I think it'll be missed. So if you want to make a big bang, and if that's the approach, then it needs to be a little more audacious than just 10 people stuck together.
So according to you, is this pitch real or is this pitch not real?
It could be real. I can actually picture a couple of brands probably doing this, but I don't think it's audacious enough.
Well, your answer is absolutely right. So this is real. This was Fevicol who executed this at the Kumbh Mela using some careful planning and safety measures. So they tied it perfectly to that festival, and their brand story created a huge viral moment online. And of course, just to follow up to this, how important is connecting campaigns, like you rightfully said, that it was not that audacious, but yes, of course, it was doable. And of course, this is a real campaign. How important is it connecting campaigns to big cultural events today? And could smaller brands even attempt to do such a gimmick, if, in your opinion?
I think you're being a little harsh by saying gimmick.
Okay.
I think in order to make yourself visible, I think there is a necessity to do something that catches somebody's eye.
Of course.
And I think that's the first step, right? At least from my opinion, rather than my opinion. It does work, but there is a balance, because it can get cringy as well. And at the same point of time, you want it to be a little classy as well. So I think it needs to be thought through. So I've seen a few. I think the Vodafone ad or the Orange ads back in the day when you were taking a train, every station had the orange on it.
Yes.
Comes to mind. So yeah, it does work if executed well.
Well, you have safely escaped this place of not having these shots of Karela Jamun juice and espresso shots and sour candy. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Coming to you, Mr. Saksena, a popular beverage brand tested vending machines that could actually suggest your drink based on your mood. So you pressed a button and the sensors would recommend something fizzy, something sweet, something sour, tailored to your current vibe. So do you think this is actually possible, or just something from a very closed door brainstorming session?
It's not an idea that will work. Anyway, it's not possible today. Maybe 15 years down the line, very possible. It can judge your mood. It can judge what film do you want to watch. Anyway, we are being watched, so it tells you what your algorithm is based on that. So maybe it will extend to drinks as well. But currently, no. And it's a very brainstorming in a room kind of an idea right now.
Currently, no. Well, you are absolutely right.
Damn, I miss my Karela juice.
You can actually have it if you want to. I mean, if you have a craving for that, you can of course have it. But this exact campaign hasn't been done yet. And of course, you're right. I mean, in the near future, we can, of course, because of the advent of technology coming into the picture, everything is possible. Now that we have drones, we have airpods to actually travel from one place to the other. We could, of course, have a vending machine that could have probable sensors to actually, tell you what type of mood you are in, if you want something fizzy or not. And of course, brands today are using AI because it's the need of the hour. Artificial intelligence is being used around a lot. So would you try something like this for your brand if you had to? Or according to you, still it is a bit futuristic for most of the customers? Because of course, customer experience comes into play for this.
Not really. It really depends on who the brand is targeting. One, what is the idea behind it? It can be an experimental thing, like, I don't know, you would have seen on Instagram, they put a lot of drinks and you're supposed to guess and you get money for it if you guess it right. It could work on those levels, yes. So really depends on what you're trying to do with it. What is the logic behind it? It can work at some parties. It can be a fun game. Till the technology kicks in, of course. But yes, why not?
And now it's time for you to play as a team, like you have always done for so many years now, because this pitch comes out to you both. An international toy brand created a doll with type 1 diabetes. It came with the realistic accessories like an insulin pump and a glucose monitor. The campaign included input from real families affected by diabetes. According to you, could a big international brand take such a bold yet sensitive step, looking at the kind of world that we are living in at this point of time?
Yes, of course. Must be Barbie, Mattel, which can actually get in that direction, because they've tried in the film itself very different concepts. They've tried different colors, races, everything. And given that in India 50% people are diabetic, I think it works fabulously well to get to people, to make them understand the causes, the reasons behind it. It can be a fantastic campaign if one picks it up. I don't know whether it's actually happening, but if it is, I think it's a great idea to get messaging faster than otherwise, because the earlier you realize the reason why you have diabetes, how you can avoid it, works for people, for sure.
Mr. Varma?
No, I think it does work because look, at the end of it, a Barbie doll is the most sought after toy when you're trying to give it to somebody as a gift, somebody's child as a gift, right? If you can get that into the house and then have the message around diabetes, which is like Amitabh mentioned, afflicts about 50% of the Indian diaspora, I think you've solved a very large problem of at least informing people. I think there's still misconceptions around diabetes and what leads to it.
Absolutely.
And I think if that can follow through, I think it can have a tremendously positive impact actually. So,
and we are susceptible to the disease, given as a historical fact also as Indians. So it works at various levels. Percentage may differ depending on how many are today diabetics are vis-a-vis who could be diabetics who are on the borderline. But learning about it makes a lot of sense. It's a great campaign actually. Social campaign for a brand.
Well, Mr. Saksena, you actually guessed the brand correctly. It was absolutely Metal, which partnered through a breakthrough type 1 diabetes. They launched a doll, marking a very huge cultural leadership moment, and it also sparked some conversations on inclusivity worldwide. And of course, big players who are globally out there, who have an image, they can do such campaigns. Of course, they can come out with such ideation. But do you think it's very important for a mid-size or a small brand to do the same as well?
I can give you my example, right? We're a mid-sized small brand at the moment. I think it's important. I think it's important to put the message out in terms of the impact you're actually having on people's lives. So as an approach, yes. But the execution and how you actually go about doing it is important, because the message does get lost over the course of time. The relevance is important. So yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of this segment, Rate This Piss. And of course, you've answered it correctly, so you don't have to drink the Karela juice.
I don't mind trying the candy.
I mean, if you want to.
Yes.
So, would you like to?
Yes, sure. I'll try the Karela juice.
He missed his Karela shot in the morning, so he's happy to have it.
That bad, yeah.
So he's compensating here at the podcast.
It's not that bad.
It's not bad?
It's not that bad.
Should I try it as well?
I think you should also.
Okay.
And is this coffee?
Not that bad, sir.
Not that bad.
You're right. Absolutely right.
This is great. Cheers.
Well, coming to our third segment, the Brand Diaries. This is a segment which we all are very curious about, because this will also tell us the stories that happen in your life, in your brand's life. And these are the stories that are very unheard. Not a lot of people know about this. So there are going to be some real life decisions. There are going to be some realities that we want to shed some light upon. Mr. Varma, I'll come to you first. Of course, Coldstar has grown into 7,000 pin codes and across 200 plus cities. Can you share a behind the scene story of a challenge that actually tested your operations? Because pandemic was around the corner a few years back. And that was the time when people got a lot more aware about what logistic business is all about. So if you could tell us that behind the story, that behind the scenes story of what actually tested your patience, your capability as a brand.
So actually this happened a couple of days back.
Okay.
And I'll just draw this analogy into the actual headache that it created for us during the pandemic as well.
Okay.
So I was in Bandra a couple of days back, waiting for my daughter to finish a rehearsal, and me and my wife went to Hirsch Bakery. And I think the last time I went to Hirsch Bakery was when I was in college, and I think when I started working. At that point of time, Hirsch Bakery, you would go in, there was massive crowds because the food's really nice. Iconic place to pick up something on the go. And I remember 10 odd years back when we went in, we walked in, we waited for our turn, and I think we waited 20 minutes, and then, a croissant or patties and so on and so forth was given to us. And we were very happy. I ate it. Still the best, I think, chicken croissant that I've had. Three days back when I went down, that 20-minute wait irritated the living daylights out of my wife. So what has happened over the past 10 years has been that instant gratification that you and I now take for granted has played havoc in the logistics space. Right? And the reason why it's happened is because you and I want things today, like right now.
Yeah.
Now, about 6-7 years back, we started seeing this happen, right? Because when you ordered a phone on an e-commerce platform, it was delivered in 3 days.
Yeah.
Right. Then it became 2 days, then it became overnight, then it became scheduled delivery in 6 hours. You can get an iPhone 17 now in 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
But the piece is that the logistics sort of ecosystem built around wasn't quite ready. So my customer, which in this case was the brand, the platform, and you, were demanding this from us, and we just did not know how to do it.
Okay.
And when we sat down and thought about it, we said, look, people will, once they get, what's the word? They get used to it.
The hang of it, yeah.
There's no going back. It's not like I'm going to use 15-minute delivery now and then it's going to go back to, an overnight delivery. So how do I enable that? Right? How do I rejig my infrastructure, my people? My technology stack had to be ripped apart and rebuilt. My people had to be retrained. As leadership, we needed to be retrained because my customers' demand changed. And we were seeing this happening, real time. Like one of the platforms that I think that has a leadership position right now, it happened in Powai where I stay overnight because we started seeing leaflets being dropped off, in those boxes where people dropped fruits and veg. And it happened right in front of us. And if we hadn't built out a solution to solve for their demand, we would have been left behind.
All right.
That's the biggest headache. The headache is not that it's difficult to solve.
Okay.
The headache is that how do I solve it, and how do I solve it because the client currently doesn't know what he or she actually wants, but they have aspirations.
Of course.
And as a logistics company, you're not only solving for now, you're also trying to solve for aspirations. Now, how do I solve for aspiration when that product doesn't exist? I'll give you one last analogy and then we can move on. India produces one of the best high-end fruits in the world.
Okay.
Lychee, strawberry, kiwis, dragon fruit. Have you ever wondered how it reaches your doorstep? Or how it reaches the retail point? The amount of effort which goes in to get it there. And you'll be surprised with the amount of wastage that is created in the product itself, trying to get it to a retail point. Because it's heavily perishable. You handle it badly, it'll get damaged. And you and I don't shop on taste. We shop on how the product looks. So if a strawberry looks bad, or that one little dent, you're going to say, boss, I don't want.
Correct, of course.
So we've designed and redesigned supply chains that have gone all the way to farm gate, linked it with our predictable models.
Okay.
And we're able to tell with quite a lot of certainty what Bombay is going to consume in terms of lychees the next season. And how do we rejig capacities, both air, cooling capacities across the value chain, which allows you to be happy when that product arrives at your doorstep.
Well, coming to you, Mr. Saksena, few questions, and I'm pretty excited to hear the answers. How do you approach B2B storytelling, which is very different compared to a B2C client. And of course, because you have been part of the industry for so long, how do you approach your B2B client storytelling?
Everything is a brand. Essentially, you are a brand. I'm a brand. He's a brand. His company is a brand. And it's basically what tools you deploy that makes the difference. But end of the day, Deepika Padukone is a brand. Newsreach is a brand. And how you define it, like I keep coming back to messaging, you have to understand what is the brand, why does the brand exist, what is the DNA of the brand. Once you get that right, it's a matter of taking those unique aspects and start talking about it. Like the first time I met Samir, he told me, he asked me a question, which is the largest selling item during New Year's? And we racked our brain, we came up with various things. And the most strangest actually, but very obvious answer was ice.
Okay.
Ice is the most demanded item, correct me if I'm wrong, for any party, festival or New Year for that matter. And it's a strange item when you think about it. You'll think of ice creams or mithai. So these are the stories that you can actually use, like the story, like we thought of an autobiography of an ice cream. How does an ice cream start from its journey, comes through Coldstar and is delivered for you to be, for it to be available to you whenever you need it. So the whole idea is you look up these interesting points.
Okay.
That's what I said. I thought it was a boring client. When I actually started working with them, it's one of the most interesting clients because it makes you think. It makes you figure out how else can I push this brand? How else can I make people more aware of? And most importantly, the audience. The audience is very, very different for a B2B brand versus B2C.
Okay.
So we take two aspects. We work with a pharma company also. So how do you make a B2B brand B2C? Is the twist that we need to work on as a PR company, because most publication don't touch you if you're not B2C. It's as simple as that. Because there are B2B magazines and they don't see it connecting with consumers, so they don't want to get into it. So the whole idea is, how do you make the B2B a B2C? What are the topics? What are the pegs? How can you actually make it more interesting for a regular reader? So the consumer also gives the push to the brand, and B2B push also happens.
And Mr. Saksena, of course, Actimedia has done so many successful campaigns, and there are all noises and applause for all of those campaigns, but people don't really know about the behind-the-scenes story of those campaigns, the challenges that the team witnessed. And of course, the team has done a splendid job in making sure that the campaign goes really successful. So if you could share one of those challenging campaigns and how your team solved it so creatively.
We worked on a lot of campaigns, right from Share the Load for Ariel for God knows how many years, to Kingfisher Calendar, which became an iconic property for a very long time. But the most amusing or the most strangest request you got from an apparel brand, where they have been in the market for, I presume, about 6-7 years, and they wanted to launch their website.
Okay.
And you actually wonder, why didn't they come up with a website when they started the company? And obviously the reason was very different. They had an international website. They were selling through various big daddies in the market, Amazon and others. But the whole idea of launching their own website was to get the traffic there, get the margins in pocket. And of course, it's e-commerce enabled, so I can go directly and buy what I want to. So thinking of a campaign for that, and we really made it huge. We really worked with the brand ideas that they came up with, the campaign they came up with, and made it bigger than it was. We did some 30 interviews with the bosses, with the brand, with the international team, and created a whole spiel around the campaign itself, the legends which were actually involved in the campaign also. So that was a challenge. More than challenging, it was a very interesting campaign to pick up and say, and get people to write, X brand launches its website. Kind of a thing, yeah.
Well, Mr. Saksena, you have been, hand in hand with your partner here today, with whom you have closely worked with. And of course, this question is about the logistic brands as well. So what are those trends in marketing and communication that are most relevant for a logistic brand today? If you could answer that.
Essentially, tools are something that you use depending on what the brand is. So for a B2B brand, it becomes very important to pick out stories which are interesting for consumers. Secondly, figure out who their TG is. So if you're talking to investors, you're talking to other brands that they want them to come on to. So you pick up those topics and start talking about it.
Okay.
You put them on platforms which are speakership platforms, panel discussions, platform like these, Newsreach platform. So it reaches maximum audience, be it consumer, be it their B2B consumer as well. So really, tools differ as per brands. And for a B2B, there are B2B magazines, there are B2B publications. And like I said, weave out stories which become B2C.
And before we wrap up this segment, a question for actually both of you. In this fast-growing business world, what usually breaks first according to you? Process or communication? We'll start with you, sir.
So I don't know which is the right answer.
Okay.
Right. But I think this was, how Amitabh and me connected as well. And if I remember the call that I made to you on a Saturday, it was, look, we built this out. This is our process. Help us communicate. Where I come from and where the business and where my founders and leadership come from is that if you don't have a product or you don't have a process which delivers a superior product, what are you communicating?
Okay.
And I think I was a little sheepish when I called you at that point in time. I said, hey, look, I know logistics is a little boring, but let me tell you some of the things we're doing.
Okay.
So that's the approach we've always had. I think once we finished the product, when we finished the process, is when we were ready to communicate. So that's the approach at least we've taken.
Absolutely.
And
I agree totally. It's product. I mean, if the product is bad, you can't do anything about it. You may create stories, you may weave stories, but the user will actually dish you after a point in time. So product is key. If the product is great, it gets great communication, great PR. And it's up to us to define, create how to niche individuate it, make it distinctive from others, think of out-of-box ideas to talk about it. Then it's tools coming in. But the product has to be great to go to the market. And then communication follows.
Well, time now for our final segment, which is called Mumbai Meter. So the segment is Mumbai Meter, where I'll say a word or a phrase that is linked to Mumbai. So we'll give you a prompt and you have to answer accordingly in just one line. You should be very instinctive, very honest in what you really think. The first thing that comes up to your mind. We'll start with you, sir. Mumbai traffic.
It's the way of life.
Local trains.
Cultures, languages, people.
Startup life.
It's what the present is.
Monsoon mornings.
Oh, lovely. With a tea in hand, sitting by the balcony. Absolutely fabulous. And Bombay monsoons I long for them.
As long as you're not in traffic, then the Bombay monsoons are lovely.
I try not to be in traffic.
So, Mumbai work ethic.
I think it's the best I've seen so far. The best I've seen.
And somebody who is an industry expert, this is one of my favorite. Clients call at 9 p.m.
So we curated clients, happy people make happy clients. We tell our clients, please don't try and call us after 7 o'clock. We're not available. And actually, we took up clients which don't get us into this kind of a space where you have to pick up call, doesn't matter what time it is. So we decide that, and it's still 7:30 max.
Of course. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Crafting Bharat, Brand Ki Baat, Mumbai Edition. Thank you, Mr. Amitabh, and thank you, Mr. Sameer, for actually sharing your honest insights and for having this real-time conversation, because a lot of people don't really know about what logistics is all about, how a media organization run, what is PR, what is digital. So thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us and giving us a gift of knowledge and certainly a food for thought to chew upon. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
This series is brought to you by Newsreach and powered by HT Smartcast and Fever Network, with Nanaji Natural as a gifting partner and Lakme Academy powered by Aptech as a beauty partner. Until next time, keep building, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going. My name is Karthik. I'm signing off.